It is Thursday, and this is the main news bulletin broadcasting live from our Montrose studios in Bulawayo. My name is Arthur C. Evans, and these are the stories making your headlines. Air Commodore retired Bere declared a national hero, and burial is set for Monday. In business news, Zimbabwe commits to accurate economic data. And in sports news, the National Sports Stadium to start hosting PSL matches on Africa Day. Well, these and other stories will follow during the course of the bulletin, but first we go to State House, where three envoys from the Netherlands, Belarus and Colombia have vowed to work together to enhance cooperation between their respective countries and Zimbabwe. They were speaking after presenting their credentials to President Dr. Emerson Mnangagwa at State House in Harare this Thursday. Our chief correspondent, Ruben Barwe, has more.
Three ambassadors, two from Europe and one from Latin America, presented their credentials to the President, Comrade Emerson Mnangagwa at State House in Harare. First to present the credentials is the ambassador of the Netherlands to Zimbabwe, Mr. Matthias Peter van Even. He says he has been in the country for some time and managed to attend the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair and visited a number of places. And he says, remember, 75% of agricultural produce, especially horticulture, is destined for the Netherlands.
The relations between the Netherlands and Zimbabwe are excellent. And if you talk about trade, trade figures have doubled over the last 4 years. And also most of your agri-products are going to the Netherlands. So trade is doing very well between our two nations. But I think as an ambassador, there's more potential for growth. So that is something we're going to focus on in the coming years, to strengthen the relationship with a focus on more trade between our two nations. That 75% of all horticulture products are being exported to Netherlands from Zimbabwe.
Second to present his credentials is the ambassador of Belarus to Zimbabwe, Mr. Yuri Nikolaichik, who said the relationship between Belarus and Zimbabwe has seen the reciprocal visits by the two heads of states from Minsk to Harare and Harare to Minsk. He says agriculture production is one wing of cooperation Belarus and Zimbabwe are engaged in, including trade.
Belarus and Zimbabwe enjoys a strategic level of friendship, openness and partnership between our two nations. We support each other on international arena. Belarus recently supported Zimbabwe's bid for United Nations Security Council for 2027, and we remain committed to support each other at the international fora. Belarus and Zimbabwe build up mutually beneficial cooperation in various spheres. The flagship is, of course, Agricultural Mechanization Facility Program, which runs since 2020 and already helped to provide Zimbabwe with more crops, and we plan to continue this cooperation and this program. We cooperate in the spheres of education, tourism, security, health care, agriculture. So there is a wide range of projects that are already on board. They were reflected in the roadmap for 2026-2030.
Last to present her credentials is the ambassador of Colombia to Zimbabwe. Colombia is a country in Latin America. She is Madame Maria del Rosario Mina Rogers. She said not much trade is between the two sister republics, but something is in the offing. And her presentation of credentials is to enhance that cooperation. Yes, she said, Zimbabwe's application to become a member of the Security Council, a non-permanent member, she will elevate it to her leaders back home.
We have had very friendly and stable relations for over 3 decades now, but this is a moment where Colombia have identified that we need to be very concrete on those relations. We have to ground them on very concrete initiatives, programs, and actions. And that's one of the things that I just discussed with the President. Zimbabwe is aspiring to be sitting at the UN Security Council as a member and request our support. I will elevate this to our government, but I told him that for Colombia, the participation of the African countries at the UN Security Council and the institutions at the UN institutions and multilateral level is very important.
So at the end of the day, Zimbabwe is a friend of all and an enemy to none. And she continues cultivating this relationship between many countries across the globe. Ruben Barwe, ZBC News, State House, Harare.
I'd also like to acknowledge my co-presenter on the sign language desk, Piswe Munyika. It's good to have you on board. Now, the President, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, has made several appointments and reassignments in government. In a statement, the Chief of Secretary to the President and Cabinet, Dr. Martin Rushwaya, announced the appointment of Honorable Tsitsi Zhou as the Deputy Minister of Lands and Rural Development, and that of Dr. Prosper Matondi as Permanent Secretary in the same ministry. In other appointments, Dr. Shingirai Mushamba is the new Permanent Secretary for Harare Metropolitan Provincial Affairs and Devolution. Other Permanent Secretaries have been assigned as follows: Dr. Simon Masanga, Permanent Secretary for Environment, Climate and Wildlife; Dr. Thomas Utete Ushe, the Permanent Secretary for Mines and Mining Development; Ambassador Thaddeus Chifamba, Permanent Secretary for Industry and Commerce; Mr. Fungwa Kunaka, Permanent Secretary for Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare; Professor Orbit Jiri, Permanent Secretary, Agriculture, Mechanization and Water Resources Development. Dr. Rushwaya also confirmed the appointment of Mr. Ernest Manyau and Colonel Retired Dr. Lioba Gunduza as Commissioners to the Health Service Commission. President Mnangagwa has also renewed the contract of the Deputy Chairperson to the Health Service Commission, Dr. Rugare Kangwende. Now, in other news, Vice President Colonel Retired Dr. Colonel Kembo Mohadi, I beg your pardon, has launched a $30 million United States Adolescence and Youth for Sustainable Futures project in Bulawayo, which is part of efforts to incorporate young people in the fight against climate change.
Launching the 6-year $30 million United States dollar project, a collaboration between Save the Children Zimbabwean government, Vice President Dr. Kembo Mohadi said, by realizing that young people are active agents of change, government is investing in the future of the nation.
By investing in our youth, we are investing in the future resilience and prosperity of our nations. Development partners, ladies and gentlemen, as government, we are resolute in our commitment to delivery. We expect this initiative to produce tangible, measurable results and promote stronger resilience within vulnerable communities, enhance adaptive capacity across affected regions, meaningful and sustained youth participation, and robust systems for monitoring, evaluations, and accountability must also be observed.
On a continental level, the Vice President said the initiative to train young people to be climate champions speaks to Agenda 2063.
At the continental level, this project speaks to aspirations of Agenda 263 of the African Union. That is the Africa we want. Particularly the goals of sustainable development, climate resilience, and youth empowerment. Globally, our efforts remain guided by our commitments under the Paris Agreement, as well as the Sustainable Development Goals, which call for urgent and coordinated action to combat climate change and its negative impacts.
The launch also gave young climate activists an opportunity to voice the harsh realities they are subjected to because of climate change.
In Binga, agriculture is the backbone of our livelihood. However, it is under natural threat. Crops fail due to poor rainfall patterns. Livestock suffer and hunger becomes a constant fear. Young people are forced to leave school to support their families or search for opportunities elsewhere, limiting their future potential.
Save the Children International Chief Executive Officer Ms. Inga Eshing said the launch of the project represents their confidence in the Second Republic.
I would like to express our sincere appreciation to the government of Zimbabwe, particularly the Ministry of Agriculture, Water Resources Development, for its leadership, co-financing, and the signing of the TCF3 Tripartite Agreement. We also thank the Climate Change Management Department for its guidance, partnership, and trust throughout this process. To all our partners across government, civil society, financial institutions, the private sector, and the community, we thank you. The strength of this program lies in partnership, and its success will depend on our continued collaboration and shared accountability.
Although launched in Bulawayo, the benefiting provinces are mainly Matabeleland South, Matabeleland North, and Midlands.
For National Climate Change Adaptation Plan, we have emphasized the importance of local level planning, community resilience, and inclusivity. And the youth are being included in this project.
Agriculture must be a business at every level, irrespective of scale. If you are at a household in Binga at the ZANU school, where the adolescent who was addressing us comes from, when you are in the school garden, agriculture must be a business, which is why we are establishing school business units across the 11,300 schools. Each will have a business unit by 2030.
This initiative is in line with the National Development Strategy 2. Lisa Correa, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
From one progressive project to another, the construction of the Masvingo Trumpet Interchange is progressing well, with one of the key components of the bypass project, Mucheke Bridge, now complete.
The Singuleni-Mucheke River Bridge, a primary link between Harare and the Beit Bridge border post, previously saw high volumes of transit vehicles and passenger cars competing for space daily, often resulting in traffic jams that stretched back to Masvingo Polytechnic. However, with the new Mucheke River Bridge officially opened to traffic this Thursday, the era of congestion at the site is now a thing of the past. Masvingo residents and transport operators who previously relied on police intervention to manage traffic flow at the bridge have breathed a sigh of relief.
Nguva yatinofamba tichipinda mutauni ichange iri diki, saka tinotenda president vedu vaEmerson Mnangagwa nebasa hombe ravari kuita uye nekupromota ma-indigenous companies kuti ativakire zvinhu zvihombe zvakaita sebridge rinoratakatsika.
Tineiyo iri kugadzirwa futi trababulasi ripapo nebridge ripapo, tinoona zvinoisa congestion.
Sezvo pava ne2 mabridges aya ekuti dzinopinda dzakukwanisa kupinda nekuside kunoko, dzinobuda dzichibuda neuko. Izvi zvinova zvinokwanisa kuminimiza ma-road accidents.
Munhu wese ari kufara, tafara wedu way.
We are so happy nezviri kuitwa ne-Second Republic under our leadership of our father, Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa. We are seeing that this road is a very busy road, so traffic jam yabatsirika muno Masvingo.
Ndoda kutenda hurumende yedu nekusumudzira panyaya dzemigwagwa idzi. Toona kuti taakufamba zvakanaka.
According to the contractor, the bridge was designed to accommodate the high volume of freight moving along the north-south corridor.
This is one bridge out of the 3 big bridges that we are going to put in Masvingo. So there's Chevron, and then there is the Trumpet, which is further down, and then we have Chimsana on the left side. So specifically this one is a 5-span bridge which has 2 abutments.
Masvingo Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Ezra Chadzamira, noted that the ongoing road rehabilitation projects will unlock great commercial opportunity for the province and the nation at large.
Project yatinofara nayo iri kutisimudzira zvikuru. Takatarisira atinoti key economic sectors like agriculture, tourism, mining. Zvichakwanisa kunge zambuko iri richishandisiwa se-enabler.
For Transport and Infrastructural Development Minister, Honorable Felix Mona, the Masvingo Trumpet Interchange mirrors the standard of excellence being applied to all ongoing national road rehabilitation projects.
We continue in that trajectory to make sure that the mantra of His Excellency Comrade Dr. Emmerson Damzo Mnangagwa, that we build our own country and we need to enhance issues of connectivity. This is what we are doing. And I'm happy that we will not end here. We have also started on the road over rail at Fairfields. Those who witnessed road construction on that particular section. And again at Bubi section, we are doing a road over rail. We'll also be attending to interchanges as we move towards the great city, Harare.
Early this week, another newly constructed bridge, Manyame River Bridge, along the Harare-Masvingo Bite Bridge Road, was also opened to traffic, marking significant progress on the entire Harare-Masvingo Bite Bridge Road rehabilitation project. The rehabilitation of the road has seen over 540 kilometers out of the 582-kilometer highway being rehabilitated and open to traffic. John Nandara, ZBC News, Masvingo.
In a powerful call for gender parity and economic transformation, the First Lady, Dr. Auxilium Mnangagwa, has challenged African nations to move beyond the rhetoric of empowerment and dismantle the structural barriers preventing women from reaching the highest echelons of the tourism industry.
Officiating at the second United Nations Regional Congress on Women Empowerment in Tourism in Africa at the Elephant Hills Resort in Victoria Falls, the First Lady emphasized that women must transition from being mere participants to becoming the primary architects of the continent's tourism landscape. The three-day high-level Congress is being held under the theme Advancing from Empowerment to Leadership, Driving Structural Change in the Tourism Sector, addressing delegates that included tourism ministers from across the continent, UN tourism officials, women in tourism drawn from 18 African countries, and thousands of Zimbabwean women drawn from 10 provinces. Dr. Mnangagwa noted that the hosting of the event in the iconic city of Victoria Falls is a testament to Zimbabwe's commitment to inclusive growth.
This convergence of focus and action presents us with a unique opportunity to collectively accelerate progress towards inclusive growth and shared prosperity. Women empowerment is no longer a developmental aspiration, but a strategic necessity. That is why it aligns perfectly with continental and global policy frameworks that guide our development trajectory. At continental level, the African Union's Agenda 2063 seeks to deliver 7 aspirations, each with its own set of goals towards the Africa we want. In the same context, aspiration number 6 envisions an Africa whose development is people-driven, relying on the full potential of its people, particularly the women and youth.
The First Lady, who is the patron of the tourism and hospitality industry in Zimbabwe, shared the success of local initiatives such as the National Cookout Competitions and Agri4She initiative, which have integrated rural women into the tourism value chain through gastronomy and sustainable agriculture.
To every woman listening, your ambition is valid and your voice matters. Your leadership is indeed, whether in government, business, community, or global institutions, there is space for you at the table, and if there is no space, you have the power to create it. Allow me to share some of the initiatives that we have undertaken in Zimbabwe to uplift the livelihoods and promote inclusive development. Through the cookout competitions, We have celebrated and elevated indigenous culinary traditions, empowering women in gastronomy and creating pathways for entrepreneurship within the tourism value chain. Our women are working around the clock to promote the consumption and production of traditional grains, traditional vegetables, and wild fruits, among others. The Agric for She initiative has been instrumental in supporting women in agriculture, enhancing food security, and linking women producers to tourism markets. This initiative stands as a testament to government's commitment to women empowerment and the adoption of sustainable agriculture practices.
She further urged male leaders to act as allies, noting that the rise of women does not diminish the power of men, but rather strengthen the competitive edge of the entire African tourism sector. The First Lady took significant time to tour various exhibition stalls at the Regional Congress, where she interacted warmly with women, showcasing diverse products ranging from intricate traditional beadwork to innovative ecotourism services. Her presence provided a major boost to the exhibitors as she shared words of encouragement and discussed the practical challenges and successes of their small-scale enterprises, reaffirming a role as a champion for community empowerment. In a vibrant display of cultural diplomacy, Dr. Mnangagwa later led African tourism ministers and the UN Tourism Secretary General, Ms. Shaika Aunu-Wise, through a specially designed gastronomy kitchen. The kitchen was filled with laughter and the aroma of organic traditional dishes, illustrating how gastronomy can serve as a bridge between nations. The spirit of international cooperation was further highlighted by the participation of various countries, with China, Botswana, and Ghana among those showcasing their unique national cuisines, adding a global flavor to the African-led event. Zimbabwe's local cuisine was further showcased by Zimbabwean women who displayed their culinary skills in their kitchens. The city of Victoria Falls came alive with a vibrant influx of tourists and visitors from across the country and beyond, all drawn by the event, transforming the destination into a dynamic hub of culture, energy, and a global connection. The UN Tourism Secretary General, Ms. Shaika Aunu-Wise, opened her remarks by challenging the status quo of top-down leadership, praising the groundedness of the First Lady of Zimbabwe, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa.
We see that kind of leadership today. Where do we see leaders who step out of the office and into people's realities? That level of groundedness is rare, and it is what true leadership looks like. Leadership like that does not stay at the top. It reaches people. It changes lives. And yesterday, I saw that in action. In Freetown, Sierra Leone, in 2024, at the first Women in Tourism Regional Congress for Africa, our member states were clear. Talent was everywhere, but access was not. A mentorship initiative was not a suggestion. It was a priority. Sierra Leone, as chair of the Women in Tourism Leadership Africa Committee, helped drive that forward. So what we did, we listened, and today we deliver. We deliver here in Zimbabwe. This is what partnership looks like, and that is where mentorship comes in.
The First Lady of Zimbabwe, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, was further celebrated as a transformative force for African heritage and economic empowerment.
Your stewardship, Your Excellency, in Zimbabwe tourism has undergone a remarkable transformation, one that begins at grassroots, one that begins with an ordinary woman. Your Excellency, ndivo vataunganidza pano nhasi. We have gathered all of them because you have put a hand on each of them. Your Excellency, you leave no one and no place behind, including the persons living with disabilities. They are here present.
What we've been seeing here in Zimbabwe pertaining to gastronomy is the one thing that I must say we will copy shamelessly. Your Excellency, Africa is no short of food. Africa is no short of organic food.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Professor Amon Murira, underscored the critical role of the tourism sector in achieving Zimbabwe's national development goals, stating that the industry is now a key instrument for building a prosperous society.
Your Excellency, your pioneering work in gastronomy tourism, including the establishment of the Africa International Tourism Academy for Culinary Arts here in Victoria Falls, demonstrates that heritage, when organized through knowledge and enterprise, becomes a source of livelihood, innovation and national pride. This is the practical meaning of empowerment, transitioning into structured leadership and production.
The Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution for Matabeleland North Province, Honorable Richard Moyo, emphasized that the goal is not merely employment, but total transformation.
We must envision a tourism sector where women are not only employees, but entrepreneurs, not only participants, but policymakers, not only empowered, but leading.
In a poignant gesture of inclusion, the First Lady facilitated a special excursion for women drawn from all 10 provinces of Zimbabwe, many of whom had never visited the country's premier tourist attraction. As they stood before the thundering smoke that thunders, the roar of the falls was matched only by their excitement.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Ejabula namhlanje ukubana ngifike ngizobona lapha amanzi kumafosi. Ngiyajabula kakhulu sithokozelela umama yena othe ukufika e-Elephant Hills. Ecelelwa bomama ngokuthanda okukhulu kangaka lapho ukwaranezwa ethi amayi bethu first lady. Yazi kambe zakalelo mama muthi kangarira bana benu.
Through a various philanthropic arms and a role as the patron of environment and tourism, the First Lady continues to bridge the gap between policy and the people, ensuring that women in the most remote areas are not left behind in Zimbabwe's journey towards an upper middle income economy. Yolande Moyo, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
The Mines and Minerals Bill, which was gazetted last year, took center stage during this Thursday Senate session as government moves to modernize the legal framework guiding the mining sector.
Upper House sittings resumed this Thursday with senators raising pertinent questions during the question and answer session, chief among them the Mines and Minerals Act, which they called for its expedition, saying it has taken long to be tabled before Parliament. In response, leader of government business, who is also the Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Ziyambi, said there were some areas where they needed clarification, and also once clarified, it will be tabled before Parliament for debate.
This bill has been on the cards for a long time, and it has faced a difficult journey. First, even before it came to Parliament, and then even when it came to Parliament, there are issues that have been raised by the Parliamentary Legal Committee that we have had several meetings with them, and we have managed to resolve them because we felt that it was prudent that we sit down with them, we try to understand the issues that they were raising and find ways of resolving them, so that once that hurdle is cleared, we can then proceed with the bill in the National Assembly. And I'm pleased that we have managed to do, and hopefully nothing else will crop up and the bill will now be debated in the National Assembly and transmitted to the Senate.
The Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Soda, revealed to Senate that the government is on a drive to reach 85% by 2026 of digital transmission in all areas in Zimbabwe.
Our radio coverage for the whole country is around 81%. And by the end of this year, we hope we would have reached the 85%. And our television coverage is also around 38%. And for the year, we are looking forward to have achieved 42% of coverage. You might be aware that we have quite a number of some programs that we have embarked on and being financed by various ways. One of them is the Zim Digital program, which is aimed at mobilizing resources for us to put adequate transmitters that have a wider coverage, and also which will assist us in the digital transformation that we are currently seized with.
The issue of data costs came under the spotlight with the Minister of Information, Communication Technology, Postal and Courier Services, Honorable Tatinda Mavetera, noting the government is working on some of the modalities with the relevant stakeholders.
Data is now the new oil. And for us to achieve the digital transformation we envisage by 2030, we need to really be very deliberate on the cost of data in Zimbabwe. We have gone to porters, we have written to them, and we have directed them to have engagements with our various telco players. So that since this has already been done by the President, where we have reviewed, I'll tell you, for example, our spectrum fees have really gone down, even to even mention even their license fees, they've also gone down. So just that alone, we thought it was also going to reduce their cost. So this, we really have got, it's something that we are doing as Minister of ICT.
Artificial intelligence also came under the spotlight, with government revealing that the recently launched National Artificial Intelligence Strategy running from 2026 until 2030 is set to modernize, industrialize and boost socio-economic growth through AI adoption. The strategy focuses on 4 key main pillars that include ethical governance, talent development, infrastructure sovereignty and AI adoption in key areas that include mining and agriculture. Memory Chamisa, ZBC News, Mount Hamden.
Friday could be a big day for some African countries, and that is because China will this Friday implement a zero-tariff policy for all African countries with which it has diplomatic ties. Now, the development, which includes Zimbabwe, is expected to boost China-Africa cooperation for sustainable development.
The zero-tariff measure is expected to fully eliminate tariff barriers for products entering the Chinese market, unlocking tangible sector-specific advantages for Africa's key export industries. According to the Chinese ambassador to Zimbabwe, His Excellency Zhou Ding, in agriculture, the policy drastically cuts export costs and strengthens price competitiveness for Zimbabwe's farm and horticultural goods, with traditional crops such as tobacco gaining enhanced market advantages, while high potential products including citrus, avocados, macadamia nuts, essential oils and cotton textiles will enjoy full duty-free access. In mining, zero tariffs will lower the landed cost of Zimbabwe's mineral and processed mineral products in China, boosting profit margins and global competitiveness. More importantly, the policy incentivizes local processing and value addition before export, pushing Zimbabwe's mining sector up the global value chain. According to the diplomat, to help Zimbabwe and fellow African nations turn zero tariff access into tangible, long-term export growth, China has put in place a full set of targeted support mechanisms covering productive capacity, standards compliance, and market readiness. These include support for production capacity and industrial upgrading, assistance with standards compliance and trade facilitation, expanded market access and promotional channels, along with long-term support through the China-Africa Export Partnership Agreement. Ambassador Ding further highlighted China's status as the world's first major economy to implement a unilateral full zero tariff treatment for all African countries with which it has diplomatic ties, represents a landmark step deeply embedded in the long-term architecture of China-Africa Economic and Trade Cooperation. Olina Ndori, ZBC News, Harare.
On a somber note, Air Commodore retired Simon Brian Bere, who died on the 24th of this month, has been declared a national hero. Peter Chivima has more details.
The message on the conferment of national hero status on Air Commodore retired Simon Bere was conveyed to the family this Thursday evening by the Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Ziyambi, who was accompanied by Commander Zimbabwe Defense Forces General Emmanuel Matatu and senior armed and air officers.
Ndapiwa mashoko kuti President mushure mekunge vabvunzawo dare ravo guru zvaonekwa zvakakodzera kuti Comrade Bere vaitwe national hero. Ndo mashoko andatumwa nawo kuti ndizotaura kuti sehurumende, sebato redu riri kutonga reZANU PF, tichitarisa rwendo rwakafambwa namazi kubva vachienda kuhondo, vachibva kuhondo vachipinda mumauto, kusvika vachizoritaya vachienda kupurazi kwavo, taona kuti munhu akashandira nyika anokodzera kunge achipiwa ruremekedzo rwegamba renyika, national hero.
Ini ndakamirira Zimbabwe Defense Forces yese zvayo. Ndoda kuti aiwa nematambudziko nezvaitika, tiri nemi pakuchema, tinemi nguva dzese, tichafamba tese kusvika tapedza basa iri.
Air Commodore retired Bere was born in Urungwe, Mashonaland West Province in 1959. He received his primary education at Chiroti and Matao primary schools in the same province.
Mhuri yekwabere inofara zvikuru neruremekedzo rwamapa our gallant son, retired Air Commodore Simon Bere.
After primary school, Air Commodore retired Bere proceeded to Ascot in Gweru for his secondary education. The national hero joined the liberation struggle together with other cadres in Mozambique in 1978, where he received military training. Upon completion, he was assigned to the education department. He returned back in Zimbabwe in 1981 and he was attested into the Air Force of Zimbabwe as an aircraftsman. Through hard work, the distinguished air officer rose through the ranks to group captain. He retired from the active service in 2024 as a group captain before he was elevated to the rank of Air Commodore. The national hero will be buried on Monday at the National Heroes Acre. The decorated officer is survived by his wife Regina and 3 children. Meanwhile, mourners are gathered at house number 2851 Jinsway, Bluffview, Harare. Peter Chivima, ZBC News, Harare.
Next, we take a look at the health sector, where government's push to reform. I beg your pardon. We take a look at the medical sector next, where doctors and government's push to reform Zimbabwe's health sector system is going strong and getting strong backing from health professionals, with proposed amendments to Statutory Instrument 330 of 2000. expected to strengthen oversight of medical aid societies, enhance transparency and place patients at the center of healthcare delivery. Now, this came out at an engagement with the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Health and Childcare convened by the Zimbabwe Medical Associated Health held in Harare.
The proposed amendment to Statutory Instrument 330 of 2006 to tighten regulation of medical aid societies by reinforcing their role as healthcare financiers, improving transparency in pricing and claims, and introducing stronger oversight to address conflicts of interest linked to vertical integration. The reforms are also designed to protect patients from hidden costs, ensure timely payments for service, and guarantee patients access to clear information, choice of providers, and quality care.
The Zimbabwe Medical Association is very much enthused by the proposed amendments to the SI. We believe at this point in time in the transformation of the socio-economic transformation of the country and in line with our national development goals, there needs to be clear structural reforms that separate those who are providing healthcare insurance and those who are providing services. The vertical integration that has characterized our industry for the last 2 decades has created a lot of challenges for the patient.
We are concerned about the inherent conflict of interest where the funder is the one who decides on the therapy and is the one who decides on what is paid. There is then no transparency. There are no checks and balances in the entire system.
We are considering the issue of patient ethics, the issue of conflict between seeing a patient as someone who is vulnerable and also seeing the patient as someone as a commodity. So the medical aids have been seeing patients as commodities instead of seeing them as in the ethical perspective that medical practitioners have.
Parliament also weighed in on the debate, noting broad agreement on the need to uphold patient rights, but calling for continued dialogue to resolve tensions around implementation.
I can see they're all focusing on a patient. So there is a need for us to keep on having these engagements such that we'll come to an agreement to say who does what and to what extent. Because that kind of friction, and it will compromise the health of a patient at the end of the day.
With growing consensus across the sector, stakeholders say the reforms must decisively separate the roles of funders and providers, strengthen accountability and restore patient confidence, ensuring that every Zimbabwean can access transparent, fair and quality health care. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Harare.
Next we go to Mashonaland West Province, where the province has set in motion preparations to host the 23rd ZANU PF National People's Conference, with a high-level delegation from the party's headquarters conducting an assessment tour in Chinhoyi this Thursday.
A ZANU PF delegation from the party's headquarters, led by Director General Comrade Thaddeus Pesanai Chadenga, toured the Chinhoyi University of Technology to assess preparedness as the province gears to host the annual National People's Conference. The conference will be held from the 12th to the 17th of October. Comrade Chadenga implored the province to be organized and transparent in resource mobilization as preparations gather pace.
Let me hasten to say that in all these activities, we expect 100% transparency, especially in resource mobilization activities. Any suspicions of corrupt deeds will be thoroughly investigated and culprits prosecuted. Resources received from donors ought to be officially communicated to our national chairman, and she will originate a letter of acknowledgement to express the party's gratitude for the donation.
ZANU PF Mashonaland West Provincial Chairperson Comrade Mary Mliswa Chikoka said subcommittees have hit the ground running in preparation for the national event.
So we're in a good place here. People have been broken up into my subcommittees. Abanenge bachibatana HQ neprovince kuti zvinhu zvese zvichinyatsa kuringana. Asi so far so good. We are well prepared for the conference, and we're looking forward to it very much as Mashonaland West Province.
Comrade Mliswa Chikoka also commended the Second Republic for decentralizing national events.
It actually makes us as provinces go to my levels. Ekuti tinosimudzirwa ende isusuwo futi zvinotipo kuti tipushe zvinhu kuti zvifambe zvakanaka. Saka it's a case of leaving no one and no place behind.
The conference was held in Mutare last year as both government and the ruling party continue to decentralize major national events across the country. Tamuka Charakupa, ZBC News, Chinoi.
Let's continue to cover CAB 3. The Constitutional Amendment number 3 bill continues to gain support, with the clergy under the National Multi-Faith Economic Dialogue banner being the latest group to call for its adoption.
Representatives from various religious denominations under the banner National Multi-Faith for Economic Dialogue gathered in Harare this Wednesday, underscoring their strong support for Constitutional Amendment number 3 bill. The church leaders, among them renowned cleric Father Fidelis Mkonore, believe the bill guarantees political stability and freedom of worship.
My elections, Gubanenguwa, Tora Mukana, Ukuti Dumunguwa, Wanopezisira Vakuruisana. Yes, Sinotora Maria Kawandi.
Kuchingwa Constitution, it is of our advantage. Zvinopa isu mukana kunyatsosanda president kunyatsosanda vachipedza maproject ekuti president vabata yopera.
Tine madevelopment akuitika munyika asati apera. Tine maroads, tine mabridge, tine mainterchange yesaya, madevelopment akawanda. Saka maplayers iya yakutamba bhora, mukaona bhora team ichiwina, you don't change the team because it's a winning team. Saka takaona kuti team iyo yakatungamirirwa na president idi munangawa ngavarambe vachienda ne that 2 years.
Nyaya iri kuramba ichitaurwa nezvayo yekuti ma-elections ngaitirwe muparliament nyanya apresident. Izvo tozviona zvakakosha because munyika medu munomu zvaigara zvichiitika mazuva ese kuti kana pakuitwa ma-presidential elections vanhu vairovana, vanhu vachivingana, political party iyi versus iyi. Saka inozvitava kuti kaisusu kana tavhotera munhu wedu achavhotera kuti atipindire muparliament, munhu yeitoziva kuti achanomiririra zvatiri kuda isusu ari muparliament imomo.
The platform was also an opportunity for the organization to celebrate its first anniversary since it was launched last year, as well as choosing the new leadership, who also concurred on the need to support the Constitutional Amendment number 3 bill.
As the Chancellor of NAMPED, I am going to support the President, ZANU PF party, ZANU PF policy, and the economic roadmap until 2030. But we don't forget that CAB 3 should be supported.
The Constitutional Amendment number 3 bill seeks, among other provisions, to extend the electoral cycle for the President, Parliament, and local authorities. Peter Chivima, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, we've come to the midway point of our bulletin, but we still have more news for you. We also have more news for you on our website. You can visit us on www.zbcnews.co.zw. We are also on X, Facebook, as well as Instagram. Our handles there are ZBC News Online. After the break, we've got more news. We've got business, and in sport news, we've also got an interesting story for you. The National Sports Stadium is to start hosting PSL matches on Africa Day. These and more stories to follow after the break. Do stay with us.
The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is pleased to advise the public that the upgraded Big 5 ZiG banknotes are now in circulation, effective 7 April 2026. The new Big 5 ZiG banknote series has been distributed across the country in sufficient quantities to meet anticipated cash demand. The rollout begins with 10 ZiG, 20 ZiG, and the new 50 ZiG note. The 100 ZiG and 200 ZiG will be introduced gradually. 1 ZiG, 2 ZiG and 5 ZiG coins remain in circulation, and the previous ZiG banknotes will continue to circulate alongside the upgraded Big 5 ZiG notes. They will gradually be phased out. The upgraded ZiG banknotes are available through banks, ATMs and HomeLink kiosks nationwide. Let's embrace and use the upgraded Big 5 ZiG banknotes with pride and confidence. ZiG. Stable, secure, sustainable.
Meet Taku, a young quality controller shaping excellence every day. Through Zimbabwe and European Union trade partnerships, Taku's quality reaches shelves abroad. Taku trains others to sort, seal, and check quality with confidence. From her laptop to the cold room, she understands the full journey to global markets. Skill, confidence, growth. That is Taku's path, and she is bringing others forward with her.
Muka Zimbabwe tiende Cheri wese ande fidelity
Ndiyo identity chaiyo Yekuturi mucheri we goride Ve fidelity chaiyo Ndiwo hauya nekadire goride Saka ngachive chipata-pata kumucheri wese Chive chipata-pata kumucheri wese Rinobatsira kuti uwe mucheri anozikanwa Rinobatsira pakutora loni yemari yakawanda Rinobatsira kuchengetedza paunoshandira Rinobatsira pane zvakawanda
Uya nechitupa chako chekuberekwa Uya nechitupa chako chekuchera.
Saka kuma artisanal and small scale miners chitomhanya nhasi unotora ASM gold card rako pa nearest gold buying center yeFidelity.
Every day, millions of moments travel through the air. A call home, a payment made, a lesson learned, a life saved. But behind each moment is something steady, something quiet, unseen, unshaken, powering connection, supporting lives. This is Econet Infraco, Zimbabwe's largest private infrastructure group, comprising towers, power, and real estate. We build and operate the essential systems that hold the country together with scale, certainty, and purpose. We bring together three powerful engines of progress under one roof. Towers that carry the signal, clean energy that keeps it alive, and foundations that hold it all in one place. Because behind every connection, every transaction, every step forward, there's a quiet force. Econet Infraco, built for resilience, designed for growth.
A major highlight of the UN Tourism Committee on Tourism and Sustainability 2026 was the historic unveiling of the UN General Assembly Tourism logo for the International Year of Sustainable and Resilient Tourism 2027, which will be hosted by Zimbabwe. The logo was firstly presented to the world today in Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe. Experience Zimbabwe. Zimbo.
Thank you so much for staying with us as we continue with the main news bulletin. Now, Zimbabwe's rich cultural heritage is taking center stage through an online blend and a unique blend of art and storytelling as the country hosts its inaugural live and visual exhibition in Harare.
Nexus between history, storytelling and the hope for the future. Representing the Honorable Vice President, Colonel Retired Dr. Kembo Mohadi, the National Housing and Social Amenities Minister, Professor Paul Mavima, underscored how this exhibition will play a critical role in telling the story of Zimbabwe's past while guiding the nation into the future.
This exhibition offers a powerful visual journey through our nation's past, reminding us of the sacrifices. As we walk through these curated displays, we are reminded that history is not just something that we read about. It is something we must preserve. It is something that we must protect, and it is something that we have a duty to pass on to future generations. Our heritage is our foundation. It gives us direction, it gives us purpose, and it gives us a sense of belonging.
Deputy Minister for Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage, Honorable Chido Sanyatwe, spoke of the importance of preserving Zimbabwe's history as a cornerstone of national identity.
This exhibition engages our senses and emotions, connecting generations and ensuring that traditions are not lost but continuously renewed. Additionally, live and virtual exhibitions also serve as a powerful tool for education, particularly for our young generations, and they will gain deeper understanding of our roots and values.
Zimbabwe continues to make concerted efforts to preserve and reclaim its history. The recent repatriation of the last of the Zimbabwe birds as well as ancestral remains taken during the colonial era stands as a testament of this push by government to reclaim the history of the country. As such, this live and visual exhibition stands as a reminder of the country's vivid past, present and the hope for the future. Olina Ndori, ZBC News, Harare.
Government has identified the protection of intellectual property rights as key in promoting and driving the country's industrialization.
The Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Ziyambi, has underscored how safeguarding and protecting intellectual rights is key to the ongoing industrialization drive, citing the influx of innovations at university innovation hubs across the country to promote the commercialization of new products and concepts. Minister Ziyambi was the guest of honor at the World Intellectual Property Rights Day commemorations held at the Giopomona grounds in Harare this Thursday.
As government, we give a lot of importance to intellectual property. And recently we set up an interministerial committee that coordinates intellectual property. And I must state that all our industries, they are driven by creations of the mind. Our scientists, they have to think, come up with inventions, and we need to protect those inventions to ensure that our innovators, those that have created products for us, their creations are protected, and also for the country to benefit from what we would have created.
Director General of the Africa Regional Intellectual Property Organization, ARIPO, Mr. David Njuguna, highlighted the role of intellectual property rights in light of the African Continental Free Trade Area, where product trademarks will play a prominent role.
IP rights are critical because, for example, the area of the trademarks, these are the identifiers of the products in the market. And you may find that you need to register your IP right in different countries. And therefore it's a pipeline through which, and people are already taking advantage of that. being able to export goods to different countries through that organization.
Zimbabwe hosts the headquarters of the African Regional Intellectual Property Organization, ARIPO, a 22-member country bloc established to promote, regulate and protect intellectual property rights. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
As the Independence Month comes to an end, villagers from Nuli village in Beitbridge district are enjoying the freedom of political emancipation after enjoying harsh conditions during the colonial era when they were restricted to, and I quote, protected villages, close quote. These protected villages were designed to separate villagers and freedom fighters in a futile attempt to derail the liberation struggle.
When the Rhodesian forces realized that they were losing the war on the battlefield, they decided to establish protective villages, popularly known as keeps, to separate the community and the armed struggle. One such a place is at Shabwe Nuli, some 38 kilometers north of the town of Beitbridge, where villagers shared their experiences and how they continue to support the liberation struggle despite machinations of the Ian Smith regime.
Ndwaikulu nga manda yaihone yaiyauri rajia ma vatu vote ava ravakuvanganyedza hava simbedza kuti makomrade vadofa ndara so mara zvezvo zvichizoona ngo zvoitwa sazvezvo hauna chotusawo ngauri ndwa yohana ichiya panda vorine ngropfa uvava uri shango live liwiniwe vava kutewa malova so vatuku ri khombela uri khava kondelele arali uri kana kofi rite hezvi uri rivofolore ridzule zvavudi vatodzele vorine vahorwane narovhairi wakipini vovachida navorine savana vavorine savabhebhi varisoka rakuto vabikira ravakuvela ravatosangafana ratosaura.
Those born after independence highlighted the importance of safeguarding these liberation heritage spaces for future generations. Ma-responsible authorities naine varangapanda vasiyalala uri kava vanga vana zvimwe zvinhu zvangaitea hapa hatingeledziwa hafenseliwa alukisiwa zvavudi uitira uri navana vavirine rine vabhebha vadzive uri heibulege yova naroli kulwane kavopolela shango lavirine mune urine savaswa zvine ratakalira rutamo rwavorine ndiuri maybe ungatsireredzea kuitira uri pana vavorine vachialuwa vakone kudiva nga history ya shango lavorine uri robva gai kusvika richiwana mbofuro. Zimbabwe this month celebrated its 46th independence anniversary under the theme ZIM at 46, Unity and Development Towards Vision 2030. Aifeli Mudau, ZBC News, Beitbridge.
Freedom is definitely a blessing to be counted. Now, Zimbabwe has joined Tanzania in celebrating the 62nd anniversary of Union Day with calls for increased cooperation between the two countries.
Tanzania's Union Day celebrations were marked with huge calls for cooperation and unity between Zimbabwe and Tanzania, with the guest of honor, the Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Ambassador Frederick Shala, emphasizing that Tanzania's independence was pivotal for the liberation of the entire African continent.
We are all aware that the independence of Tanzania injected a renewed impetus for the freedom and the independence of the entire African continent. Bilateral relations between our two countries continue to grow. However, there still exist a vast trade and economic opportunities in our two countries.
Tanzania's ambassador to Zimbabwe, Her Excellency Ambassador Susan Kaganda, also addressed the gathering, expressing a gratitude to the Republic of Zimbabwe in light of the good cordial relations existing between the two nations. She, however, emphasized on the need for increased cooperation in other fields.
I wish to extend my sincere appreciation to the government and the people of the Republic of Zimbabwe for the continued support extended to our mission since its official opening in early 1980s. We believe that our two countries stand a big chance to improve in terms of trade and investment relations. We shall endeavor to make this reality.
Tanzania's Union Day celebrations were also graced by various dignitaries from the government and the diplomatic corps, marking 6 decades of unity between Tanganyika and Zanzibar. Nyasha Makota, ZBC News, Harare.
A big happy birthday to our brothers and sisters from Tanzania. We take a break, but we'll be back with sports news immediately after that. Stay with us.
The world is moving fast. Are you keeping up? At MSU, we don't just give you a degree, we give you relevance. Your schedule, your rules. Full-time, block, or weekend sessions. We fit into your life so you can fit into the future. From Gweru to Harare and everywhere in between, this is more than a university. It's a launchpad for the innovators of tomorrow. Secure your spot. The August 2026 intake is live. Quick, secure, life-changing. MSU. Don't just dream it, drive it.
Midland State University. Our hands, our minds, our destiny.
Zimbabwe is building. Zimbabwe is moving. The newly opened Manyame River Bridge along the Harare-Masvingo By-Bridge Road stands as a landmark of progress under NDS 2. With a 110-meter deck and 40 deep-driven piles reaching 25 meters into solid rock. This engineering marvel introduces pioneering piling technology delivered by local contractors. Designed for 100-year durability and built to SADC standards, the bridge strengthens the north-south corridor, enhancing safety, easing congestion, and accelerating trade. Over 540 kilometers of this vital highway have now been rehabilitated, connecting communities and unlocking economic opportunity. This milestone reflects the visionary leadership of His Excellency, the President, Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, driving Zimbabwe towards an upper-middle income economy. The Manyame River Bridge, more than a crossing point, a symbol of progress and resilience, a pathway to prosperity and national pride.
Meet Taku, a young quality controller shaping excellence every day. Through Zimbabwe and European Union trade partnerships, Taku's quality reaches shelves abroad. Taku trains others to sort, seal, and check quality with confidence. From her laptop to the cold room, she understands the full journey to global markets. Skill, confidence, growth. That is Taku's path, and she is bringing others forward with her.
A major highlight of the UN Tourism Committee on Tourism and Sustainability 2026 was the historic unveiling of the UN General Assembly Tourism logo for the International Year of Sustainable and Resilient Tourism 2027, which will be hosted by Zimbabwe. The logo was firstly presented to the world in Victoria Falls, Zimbabwe. Experience Zimbabwe, Nakayedu, Ilivaletu, our heritage. This is us. No choice but to call it beautiful. Zimbo.
Her CFO misplaced her driver's license again, so she can sit pretty as #passenger princess.
In my pinky, right, baby?
If smart choices mean a great deal to you, box Clever with a Rapster in original, dunked, or the new barbecue. Genius.
Meet Taku, a young quality controller shaping excellence every day. Through Zimbabwe and European Union trade partnerships, Taku's quality reaches shelves abroad. Taku trains others to sort, seal, and check quality with confidence. From her laptop to the cold room, she understands the full journey to global markets. Skill, confidence, growth. That is Taku's path, and she is bringing others forward with her.
This April, the heartbeat of global tourism echoes from Africa. Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe proudly welcomes the world to the 23rd UN Tourism Committee on Tourism and Sustainability and the 2nd UN Tourism Regional Congress on Women's Empowerment in Tourism in Africa, hosted in the iconic tourism city of Victoria Falls from the 27th of April to the 1st of May 2026. Leaders, innovators and stakeholders converge for high-level engagement, shaping the future of tourism by advancing sustainability, women's empowerment, leadership and economic inclusion across the continent and beyond, held under the esteemed patronage of Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, whose impactful grassroots programs continue to transform communities and position women as key drivers of tourism development. Zimbabwe stands as a leading model of progressive and inclusive global tourism governance. Experience Zimbabwe from the majestic Victoria Falls to the ancient wonders of Great Zimbabwe. From breathtaking wildlife encounters to vibrant cultural experiences, where warm hospitality embraces you, where our cuisine tells rich stories of tradition and culture, and where our authentic heritage comes alive in every moment. Come be part of the conversation. Come shape the future. Come and experience Zimbabwe, your gateway to sustainable tourism and empowered futures. Experience Zimbabwe. Nakayebu, Ilefa letu, our heritage. This is us. Zimbo. No choice but to call it beautiful.
School's out, fun's in, adventures on, homework done, and holiday mode is activated.
Let's hop to it.
And he scores!
This is your time. Holiday mode activated. Get and stay connected to DSTV and choose from a world of amazing kids entertainment.
Meet Taku, a young quality controller shaping excellence every day. Through Zimbabwe and European Union trade partnerships, Taku's quality reaches shelves abroad. Taku trains others to sort, seal, and check quality with confidence. From her laptop to the cold room, she understands the full journey to global markets. Skill, confidence, growth. That is Taku's path, and she is bringing others forward with her.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Up next, we take a look at sports, and the Zimbabwe under-20 and under-18 boys handball teams have stormed into the quarterfinals of the Zone 6 Championships in Zambia after they winning their last group stage matches this Thursday.
Zimbabwe under-18 boys concluded their group stage campaign in style, overpowering South Africa 42-26. It was the icing on the cake for a side that maintained a 100% record in the group stage. Under-20 boys emulated their juniors after going guns blazing to dispatch Lesotho 49-20. The periodic and bonding camp held before the tournament may be the secret to the Zimbabwean team's success story. Two sides will know their opponents after the conclusion of group stage matches this Thursday. Mtokozi Stube, ZBC News.
Well done to Team Zimbabwe. Now, the National Sports Stadium is set to reopen its doors on the 25th of May after extensive renovations for the match venue to meet international standards. Now, this was revealed during a tour of the facility by the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Sport, Recreation, Arts and Culture this Tuesday.
For 5 years, this facility has been silent. Only the sound of generators, grinders and other equipment has been heard, but not the laughter of fans, the cheers of fans, and also the plaudits coming through from the fans. This is because the stadium was undergoing renovations, but that is set to be a thing of the past, as on the 25th of May, this stadium is set to reopen its doors for Premier Soccer League matches.
Renovations at the country's biggest stadium have reached the final stage as electronic turnstiles have been installed at all gates. The venue operations center is fully functional, with cameras having been installed around the stadium and its perimeter. The ablution facilities and sitting area for people with disabilities have all been done. The structure of the changing rooms has been changed, as they will now encompass a coach's office, meeting room and team areas. This is the outstanding work, with the finishings expected to be done within a fortnight. The playing area has been modernized, with a lush green weather-resistant lawn and now installed with an underground irrigation system all operational.
We are now at the level of starting to organize our first match. The target which we were given was we finish end of April and ensure that May we have our first match. And I'm happy to say we are ready for the first match.
The contractors have given the 25th May date as the start of the Premier Soccer League matches here, but the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Sport, Recreation, Arts and Culture is going to continue pushing to make sure that everything meets the required CAF standards.
We start with the local matches, it's good progress. International matches, we are going to have them in the last quarter of the year, and this ground will be ready to host the national team.
This is a testimony and a testament of development in football in Zimbabwe. The readiness of the National Sports Stadium gives an opportunity to football teams, to Erendaus particularly, because this is now our home ground. We are going to be back in the home ground. We are happy that we are going to be playing again in Zimbabwe's home of football.
It has been a long journey, but the National Sports Stadium will return back to life. Welcome fans on the 25th of May, Africa Day, as Zimbabwe gets to celebrate the reopening of the country's biggest sporting facility that will host a Premier Soccer League match, or what is being mooted a Challenge Cup, to celebrate the return to life of this giant facility before homologation for CAF matches that are expected to come through in September. Lawrence Tusida, ZBC News, Harare.
Exciting news indeed for sports fans. A colourful National Sports Stadium awaits us. In other news, Inform Castle Premier Soccer League side Rentals host wounded Bulaya Giants Highlanders at Trufaro Stadium this Friday in a match which has the potential to excite.
The Blue Giants arrive in the capital nursing fresh wounds after last week's 2-1 defeat to Caps United at Barberfield Stadium. Highlanders will be desperate to bounce back to winning ways after seeing their confidence from their first win of the season against Chicken Inn being extinguished in a matter of days. Bosso have found the back of the net 7 times this season, including 3 goals in their solitary victory over Chicken Inn, with the remainder of their matches ending in draws and 1 defeat. That lone win leaves Highlanders 12th on the table with 10 points, 6 behind their hosts. Rentals, patched in 6th position, boasts a curious record of 5 wins, 1 draw and 3 defeats, a pattern which makes them both unpredictable and dangerous. The historical record between the two sides adds another layer of intrigue. In their last 10 meetings, Highlanders have won 3 matches, Rentals 2, while 5 encounters ended in draws. Yet, statistics only tell part of the story, with Highlanders having traditionally struggled against this bogey side. PSL action continues on Saturday as the New Boys Gama welcome FC Platinum to Woodzanai Stadium. Caps United host the Blower Chiefs at Rufaro Stadium, while Hard Rock clash with the FC Hunters at Chawanda Stadium. On Sunday, defending champions Scotland host the former champions Zimbabwe at Rufaro Stadium. Gezi Platinum Stars face Manyika Diamonds at Baobab Stadium. Chicken Inn take on Dynamos at Babafield Stadium, and Triangle play Tel 1 at Gibo Stadium. Anna Shemrombedzi, ZBC News, Harare.
Let's talk about cricket, which has come a long way. Now, the journey from colonial exclusion to national pride has been neither smooth nor complete for Zimbabwe cricket. Former Chevron's coach Stephen Mangongo reflects on a journey that has taken Zimbabwean cricket from the manicured lawns of Rhodesian country clubs to the dusty fields of Highfield townships.
Cricket was once an exclusive domain of white settlers, a sport deeply entrenched in the colonial social fabric where black Zimbabweans were deliberately excluded. From the country clubs of Rusape and Tengwe to Guruve and Beatrice, cricket served as the social glue of white Rhodesian society. These clubs were not merely sporting venues, but symbols of a colonial order that shut out the black majority.
Cricket has come a long way, a long journey in Zimbabwe. It takes its roots from Rhodesia, right? The white people viewed cricket as their community.
When Zimbabwe attained independence in 1980, cricket largely remained a white sport. While athletics flourished in mining towns and football dominated the high-density suburbs, cricket was still unfamiliar territory for many black Zimbabweans.
There was a transition, a very tough transition in that way, in order for black people to participate and become accepted in the cricket world of Zimbabwe, then New Zimbabwe. The blacks in this country, being a sport-loving country, they also wanted to play this game.
In 2002, tensions reached a breaking point when a Mashonaland breakaway threatened to divide Zimbabwe cricket permanently along racial lines. Black cricket found its home at Takashinga Cricket Club in Highfield, in Makandeni in Blayo, while white-dominated structures remained at venues such as Harare Sports Club. The late cricket administrator Peter Chingoka and Judge Ahmad Ibrahim played pivotal roles in reuniting the divided cricket family.
We had an integration task force, because that's how bad it was. An integration task force to bring blacks and whites to play cricket together. So as black people, we needed a black man who could speak good English, toe-to-toe with the white people. And this man was exported, was part of our warriors who would attend meetings in the integration task force. And he's an unsung hero, because during the many hours of the integration task force, he stood firm.
Integration came at a heavy cost. While previously talented players like the late Trevor Madondo, Henry Olonga and Dave Mutendera were selected on a quota basis, something that needed to be done. In 2004, many predominantly white national team players walked away as black cricketers began to feature more prominently in the side. Players such as Tatenda Taibu, Hamilton Masakaza, Fusi Sibanda and Stuart Mtsekenyeri were forced to learn on the job as Zimbabwe cricket entered one of its darkest periods.
I remember very well when the white guys walked away with a test series versus Sri Lanka. And we were hammered properly in Bulawayo because the boys were taking baby steps.
But from those difficult beginnings, Zimbabwe cricket slowly rebuilt itself. Takashinga Cricket Club became a center of excellence, proving that cricket had truly reached the townships. The young players who endured difficult years eventually became the backbone of a resurgent national side. In 2022, Zimbabwe qualified for the ICC T20 World Cup, secured their first ever win on Australian soil, defeated Bangladesh in both the T20 and ODI series, and produced global franchise stars such as Sikandar Raza. By 2026, the Chevrons had reached the Super 8 stage of the T20 World Cup, defeating Australia along the way. Players like Richard Ngarava, Blessing Zarabani and Brian Bennett became symbols of a new era in Zimbabwe cricket, names unimaginable in the Rhodesian country clubs of the past. Today, the Chevrons represent a team that finally reflects the nation itself, resilient, imperfect, but determined to belong on the world stage. Anna Shemrombezi, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, with that story, we've come to the end of your main news bulletin. It's been a pleasure being with you. A big thank you to Piso Gemunika and the team behind the scenes as well. From me, Arthur C. Evans, enjoy your International Workers' Day tomorrow, and until we see you again, God bless.